if I could ask for some help, and if I could get the following people, if they're ready and able to be shared. I know that some are having some video challenges, but if we could spotlight to share with me on here, Witta and Holly, Brennon, Maddie, Anaiah, Rachel. If we could get that group, that would be awesome. Oh, Maddie left. She said, no, I don't want to be on the panel. Just like jumped off there. So we'll add back. It's all good. Okay, we'll add back. Yeah, so Witta, Brennon, Holly, and Holly will be by audio maybe. And then if we can add Anaiah, and if Rachel's available, we'll do that too. All right, fantastic. So we have a group here of some branch managers. Some are in a position for a senior branch opportunity. Some are in a position for a executive branch opportunity. And I wanted to ask them a few questions, and then I'm going to recognize at the end portion of the panel before we do the last part, those of you with management savings over those key benchmarks. So you don't all have to answer, okay, every question. So just use your virtual hand. If you're like, yeah, I got this one. Some I might say, hey, maybe everyone should give a shot at. But I would love to hear your thoughts on a couple of these. So we addressed this a little bit when we kicked off today, but this might not have been your situation that you shared. So when you reflect back, Maddie's gonna have to think a little further back, and some of you, it's much more recent. What did you find most meaningful in your branch summer experience? What did you find most meaningful? So whoever's ready to go first, just use your virtual hand and say, put that up there. And Holly, I love it. I can't even see you, but they're up there. Okay, great. Go ahead, Holly. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought from the beginning of the summer, we worked really hard, and by the end, it kind of just paid off. And it paid off in the way that I saw my reps on my team grow, and then they started trying even harder, and I saw that consistency, and I just, I just saw their growth, and yeah, that was the best part.
Seeing the growth in the people that you had an opportunity to recruit and train. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great. Cool. Thanks, Holly. Anyone else want to pop in something there? Most meaningful. Yeah, go ahead, Witta.
Yeah, just kind of adding on to that. I think for me, just experiencing the wins like alongside my team and not just my own. And I think when my reps get like their first sale, or even just having our team recognized at team meeting or at a conference was really nice, and just kind of being together in it for the whole summer.
Awesome. So celebrating the wins along the way and doing it together. It's great. Great. Brennon, Maddie, Anaiah. Anaiah, go ahead.
Yeah, so maybe the most meaningful aspect for me was the experience that I got, and the fact that now there's some pretty solid gems on my resume. I feel like everything that I've learned, it'll really help me out for the future in anything that I do, and especially for the career path that I want to follow. I'm studying sport management right now, and I'm looking to find a career in like professional sport, kind of the business aspect of sport. So I think the experience I gain in like leadership and time management, self-management, problem solving too, it'll be very beneficial for when I go, for like managerial roles, executive roles in my career industry.
Awesome. Thanks. Maddie.
Kind of common theme, same with some of the other guys here, but just the people that I got to impact, and kind of especially Shay Herman. I was thinking about it. I've worked with her for like the last 3 summers. I mean, she was a rep on my team when I was super, young and new, and kind of trying something a bit different for the summer, and then got to work with her as a senior branch when she got to open up her first branch office, and got to continue on in pilot role this past summer. She got to open up then her senior branch. So I think it's just really meaningful to me to just see that kind of like how I shared earlier, how vectors changed my life, to see how that changed her life. And obviously that's her own success, but if I wasn't a medicine hat, then that wouldn't have happened. So it's really cool to see how that effect kind of grows that way.
Totally. It's awesome. Thank you. Brennan, you want to share anything, or I'll go to the next question? So totally up to you.
Yeah, I'll share, just kind of adding on to what Holly said at the start, and just seeing the growth of my reps. And when like at sort of SC2, when my team started selling quite a bit, I thought it'd be really cool to obviously win for myself, like let's have the title as office, but the more rewarding thing was watching my reps get to the top and win their own prizes. So seeing the growth of them and watching my people succeed was the most meaningful part for me.
That's pretty cool, because it sounds like as you shared that, it wasn't something you expected to have happen. So kind of, you know, sometimes the reason that we branch is one reason, and then you do it and you go, wow, this is an unexpected byproduct that I didn't think would be as important to me or as impactful. So that's really great. Awesome. So a question that people get asked, you know, what's a day in the life like as a branch manager? Now, every day is different, I think, you know, because it depends on what day of the week you're in, right? But if you had to describe, which I don't know if you did that to anybody, but, you know, it's a 4-month summer that we work from, right, as a branch manager. And that summer is split into kind of phases. And part of the phase at the end, it just shifts on certain parts of our activities, right? We start out as that recruiter and trainer and builder of the team. And then we continue to do that. Then we start selling with the team, right? And we continue coaching them as we transition to that phase in August. But if you think about the beginning of the summer, right? You think about May when you're really in there, you know, what's a day in the life like? How would you describe? Go ahead, Maddie.
It's a really challenging question to try to describe that, but I would say in 2 words, you show up and you execute, right? You show up and you run the day. That's every day, like you said, it's going to be really different, but that's what your day is going to look like. You get your passion planner out, you have your schedule, your PCs, your interviews, you know, what you've got going on, but all you got to do is you show up and you execute every day while, you know, you're really building, you're really dialed in that first chunk of time as you're kind of growing. And then we get to make that transition to selling with the team.
Yeah. And I think the power of what you shared, for those of you listening that haven't run a branch yet, is that it is very much a lot of what we do, especially as you go through this training, is this franchise model where, you know, your schedule, your division manager or district manager helps to set that schedule up. So really what you need to do, you do need to know how to create the business, but that comes through this training. Then you show up and you execute those things you've been taught. Yes. Yeah. So you do a lot of execution, right? Some days are longer, bigger, and busier than others. How many of you were surprised at your capacity as to, like, you'd probably never worked days like that before? Does anyone have that happen where you're like, it's interesting, never worked that hard before in a day? I'm not saying overall, but Witta, yeah, you're like, yeah. Okay. So what did you find the hardest at the beginning of the summer, but got easier as the summer went on? Okay. What did you find the hardest at the beginning, but got easier as the summer went on? Go ahead, Holly.
Yeah, I think it was just getting into the routine of everything, you know, waking up early, doing PDI. And by the end of the summer, it's just kind of habit. And yeah, just creating those habits for your day, and it just got easier.
And yeah, I'm gonna hold that thought of what you shared. Thanks for sharing that. Yes. Witta.
Yeah, kind of on the same theme of scheduling, but I think for me is like not just sticking to your schedule and just like going from one Zoom meeting to the next, and actually using that time productively and being very having that intention when you go through your day. And I think it became easier as I went on the summer because I saw the results from like when I did certain things. So it was really easy to like, hey, I'm doing this because that's gonna get me there. So
great. Anaiah?
Yeah, for me, it reminded me, like, with this whole schedule thing, how I'd never worked that much in a day before. The schedule was definitely something I had to get used to. I haven't had like a work schedule like that for anything before. But another thing was, since this job's like very independent, there's lots of parts where you have to, have the discipline and responsibility to manage your own business and do your own work. I had to put time in my schedule for that as well. So overall, just getting used to the busy schedule, and also like finding time to put in work where I have to do it myself. That was a bit hard, but just like anything in Vector, it gets better with experience. So the more I worked at it, the smoother it went throughout the summer.
Awesome. Maddie?
I definitely think at the start of the summer, it was really hard to like manage your emotions and, not ride that roller coaster of like you're starting at nothing. So you're obviously not just all of a sudden going to sell 20K one week. I mean, you could, but not likely. Like you're slowly building and you have all this money going out and you're, really, really working hard. And I mean, at the end, it's a lot easier because you see the results, it all pays off at the end of the day. What you're putting into it is what you're going to get out of it. It just may not show up that week, but it always shows up at the end. And then, you get a team and you're building and you're getting the numbers later on. But at the start, it's not the easiest thing. And it's hard to sometimes not let that emotionally drain you and hold you down.
And so you learned how to not ride the roller coaster so high and so low, right? Yeah. Brennon, anything for you think got easier as it went on?
For me, it was the same as Maddie, right? Just not like, you're not going to have good days every day, but as long as you keep doing what you have to do and not getting too down over those things that suck realistically, but not getting too down about them is kind of how you stay consistent.
How do you all think from what you just shared, whether it's habits, it's capacity to work, emotional roller coaster, being consistent, how is that, for some of you, this question is, how has it shaped you now in September, October? And then for Maddie, it would be, how did it shape you when you were done that summer in September, October? So do you notice a difference? And for some of you, I know this is kind of first year university or college, and for some of you, it's second, third, or fourth. So I'm curious if there's something from what you just shared got easier, how has that impacted you now? If it has it impacted how you manage school? Okay, go ahead, Witta. Yeah.
I think the main thing is, just the schedule. I think as a branch, like we just listen to so many time management talks, and like when fall comes around, it's just, you're kind of more organized, about time blocking. I just use my passion planner, not for work, but for school. And, I'm already used to waking up for like Champs Club or PDI. So it kind of helped getting into that routine already.
Great. Maddie?
And I think that definitely like being able to learn how to manage emotions a little bit better throughout the summer. I mean, it allowed me to be different the following summer as a branch, but also just in like my personal life in a lot of different ways. Just that emotional intelligence. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, I remember telling Shayla I was like super duper overwhelmed and just like, I don't know why, I just had like the worst Sunday. I felt terrible and overwhelmed that I had all this schoolwork and work and nothing was going the way I wanted it to. But then I just like grabbed my passion planner, scheduled in all my study time and everything for the next week. And then I was like, I feel better. Like just little things where like, when I first started branching, Shayla spent a lot of time in her garage listening to me on the phone in medicine hat, crying. And now obviously, problem solving myself and being able to just not have to ask her and just pull out my own passion planner, write it in my schedule myself.
Awesome. Holly, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah. So like Maddie was saying, now I run my schedule doesn't run me. And just with school, I know I can do so many more things in a day than I did last school year. And yeah, so just capacity and knowing I can take control of my own schedule.
That's great. Awesome. What would you do different in preparing to run a branch, knowing what you know now? Who wants to give that a stab? When you think about, go ahead, Anaiah.
Knowing what I know now, I would say I would have gone in with a different mindset, because I kind of started up the summer a little uncertain because, of course I was doing something I'd never done before. So I went in with the mentality like, oh, I'm just going to see how it goes, just do what I'm supposed to do, see how it is. I was a little scared, which is normal. But looking back, if I had gone in with a more positive mindset, more kind of like, okay, I'm going to tackle this and it's going to be a great summer. Even though I was uncertain, I maybe could have had an even better start than I did.
Great advice. Maddie, go ahead.
I literally just had this conversation yesterday. I'm already like thinking ahead and like planning things. I think like the last couple of times, at least the first time, I don't think I actually planned anything until like 2 weeks before I moved. And then I think the summer before, I kind of had a plan, but then COVID like ruined a lot of stuff and got to adapt and change. But I think now I'm like, no, like planning for it. It's a lot easier. I just want to commit now too versus like later and delaying it like I always do. So just making that decision to commit, because it's easier to be 100% committed than 90%. gives you clarity and like the goals and what you're wanting to work after. So like for me now, I'm like, what can I do in the next 2 months? What are my areas of growth in the business that I can, while in the role I'm in, can really work on and refine that's going to benefit me later. So just all the little things we can do now over the next like however many months leading up to the summer, we can start to prepare now.
Awesome. Great. Witta, Brennon, knowing what you know now, anything at all you think you'd do different in preparation?
Yeah, I can go. I think kind of the same, but mindset and goals. I think I would be more clear with myself what my goals are and not try to like shy away from making too big of a goal. And I think one thing I struggle with, like, especially in this business, is like sharing my goals. Either it's like to my mom or to, to my manager. It's just because like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to hit it. And I think that kind of like held me back on trying to go after bigger things. So I would definitely just be more clear and go after it.
Cool. Holly, go ahead.
Yeah, mine was just being really clear on my goals. I know in the summer I wasn't very clear on my goals in the beginning of the summer, or like clear on my why. And so when it got tough in the summer, it was really hard to think of why am I doing this? And so I think now I need to go into next summer just knowing my why and it being very clear.
Great. Brennon, you want to add anything there?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't unmute myself for a second there, but yeah, kind of like, again, what Maddie said, I was kind of similar, is just actually do the preparation, now, like start in the next couple of months, do everything like a little bit every day, so that when March and April come, you're already prepared and you're finalizing everything that you're going to do, instead of starting then and peaking in like halfway through the summer. Instead of that, you can start at the start of the summer. So start now.
Instead of peaking at like SC2, Brennan, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just want to, and as you guys share these things, and we think about this conversation of Cutco through school. So some of you that are listening, you have an opportunity to run your first branch. And that really, right, when you think about one of the least expensive startup experiences ever, the company invests $6,000 into your business. You invest $3,000, they invest $6,000, plus the training and the support and the coaching. You just think about that opportunity. Senior branch, when we think about Cutco through school, you take what you know as you guys are sharing, and you think and you go, man, if I knew this then, and then you think about having a staff, and you think about the time to think differently about what you've learned and what you could do better and how you do things different, all of that clarity and how things could grow to the next level. And the company invests $8,000 instead of $6,000 into your business. And then the third layer of that Cutco through school is what I mentioned earlier, the executive branch opportunity, where senior branch is like, branches, I'm running a business. I opened one and I ran it. Second was I grew it. And the third one, right? And imagine you put that all together. Remember when Jenny Bellows ran, I think of her specifically, of that executive branch opportunity and all the experience that comes together, and the planning and enrolling people and the culture and all these other things that you probably didn't have time the first time because you're really focused on the fundamentals. But I think a common thread here when I listen to everybody is, really think about why, right? How is this going to add value to your life and to what you're doing? I think about habits Holly brought up. I remember specifically Thomas Lang, and I believe it was Corey, two guys that ran branches, and they started doing their miracle mornings in March. They started getting up early in March because they knew it was going to take them some time to get on the program, which Witta brought up, getting up early, and so that by the time the summer came, they came running, right? So a lot of things that you can do earlier to help you get off to that really fast start for this summer experience. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to share real quick. The other thing I just want to mention before I wrap up is that we also have this really cool thing. Part of Cutco through school is how this kind of blends into our DM opportunity is we have this signing bonus for our district managers that we interview for that opportunity. If they have run branches, which a lot have, right? There's a bonus they can earn each summer on branches that is part of a DM signing bonus. And so I just thought that I would bring that up as a reminder, because we've had quite a few different people the last number of years open up with more than the initial startup. You know, a district manager gets $16,000 in their first 12 months from the company. And then what happens is we add on to that either the bonus from their branches and or from being a pilot for a summer. So, you know, for example, I look at Phil Miele, and from his first branch, his second branch, right? He's got over $19,000, right? $19,000 actually that would be in startup as a DM. I think about Courtney Wilson, right? She would have $20,000 right now in DM startup as a signing bonus. And then with Maddie, Maddie's in a position where it's over 24,000 and on pace that could be over $30,000 as a signing bonus for the DM opportunity. You know, really, really a cool program there. Now, all of this happens, like I said, is the company invests in you. You also invest in your own business. You have some skin in the game and you save the money. So we had part of our push period, well, not push period, but part of our event. We said everybody that has over $1,500 in their management savings is going to get a free piece of Cutco and Vector swag. So either a polo shirt or a backpack, you're going to get that. And I think Brennon is sporting a blue polo right now. If I could, yes, he is. Yes. So there we go. And we didn't even plan that. That's cool. And everyone over 3,000 is getting Cutco. You're getting a petite Santoco. And we know that when we have Cutco, we're just earning more cash. That's for sure. So let me recognize, let me recognize here before I thought that went up on the screen there. So I'm just going to recognize our people that are over the 1,500. So over 1,500 in savings, between 1,500 and 3,000. We got Bronwyn, Michelle, Carter, Maddie, Courtney, Dakota, Anson, and Jillian, all getting some swag and over 3,000. Check it out. Enrico, $3,000, Megan, $3,000, Catherine, 3133, Sierra, 3,323, Witta, 3,863. Oh, what happened there? Sorry, I did that wrong. Okay. Tatiana, 5,000. Brennan, 5,610. Tina, 5,679. Blake Harris, 6,041. And Blake is in high school. Isaac, 6,226. And leading the way, Phil Nelly, 11,763. Great job to those of you. Well on your way. So let's give these panel members a round of applause or some snaps for their advice and thoughts and reflection. I really appreciate that. Thank you for doing that.